If you thought the first round didn't disappoint, giving us two series that went to game 7, game winners, blown leads, it's not going to stop because the second round literally just brought that. And we're about 3-4 games in with all the game ones. And man, we've gotten two 20-point leads blown. The Indiana Pacers just going ahead and taking over the fourth quarter with against the best team in the Eastern Conference, and we're going to dive into all of that. Instant reaction, my mind instantly wants to talk about the Thunder versus the Nuggets to game 1 in OKC, where the Thunder blow a 20-point lead, and man, you see Jokic going and dropping 40 points, 20 rebound game, and it's just shout out to Aaron Gordon once again coming through. This time we've seen a game-winning dunk in the first round. Now we're seeing a game-winning three-pointer. And when he hit that game-winning three, the first thing that came to my mind was after he got snubbed from the dunk contest against Derrick Jones Jr. a few years back. I think it was in 2020. And he said, now his goal is to win a three-point contest, and to see him get the game-winning dunk, and then now to see him get a game-winning three in the second round, it's just Aaron Gordon has just been so huge for the Nuggets. And if we look back, if the Nuggets make it to the finals or end up winning a championship, we're gonna look back at Aaron Gordon as one of the key contributors to lead them up to that point to win a championship. I think where this game was blown for the Thunder, obviously they took their foot off the gas to allow the Nuggets to come back in the game, but I was ranting about this last night. The whole fouling while you're up 3 thing, not only was it horribly executed by the Thunder, giving them too much time and you know, kind of relying on yourself to hit those free throws down the stretch, but I just am not a fan of that at all. If you're looking at it from the perspective of we're going to hit our free throws and we're kind of going to take away that option for them to end up tying the game, you're also giving yourself the position of losing that game, because what you're banking on, you're giving them free points essentially. Not only are you giving them free points, but you're giving them free points and allowing them to score with the clock not running. And that's one of the big differentiating factors where I don't like this scheme at all, because you're allowing the other team to get points on the board with the clock not running. Especially there was like 10 to 15 seconds left on the game clock. They're gonna foul as soon as you get the ball inbounds. But not only that, you're not even letting them get to half court or drain a little bit of that clock before you commit that foul. Not only was it poorly executed, now you got to rely on your players to hit free throws, and Chet Holmgren just missing 2 free throws down the stretch. And that's ball game right there with Aaron Gordon hitting that 3. I know the Thunder have used that scheme all season long and has come to their advantage in some games. I know the Celtics also do that as well. I'm not a huge fan of it because just as a fan watching the game, it's not something that we want to see. We want to see the other team at least, you know, battle their way back all the way down 20, but to at least have a chance to take the game to overtime, and kind of ruining that aspect for them. It was, for the fan, it was the ultimate like haha moment because the Thunder lost the game after doing that. But you know, it takes the fan out of the game where we're seeing so much stoppages. But those 2 free throws by Chet, if they end up losing that series, because you know, game 1, they say game 1 is the most important game, especially if you're a road team, to actually go and you're playing the number 1 seed to steal game 1. That was a huge win for the Nuggets, and it's going to be pivotal if they make it to the conference finals after getting out of this series. Not only did the Thunder disappoint, but the Celtics also blowing a 20-point lead to the New York Knicks, who have just been hot this whole postseason. Obviously they dropped a few games to the Pistons in the first round, but the Pistons, you know, battling, you know, never giving up. And Jalen Brunson has just been sensational. I know he was out with injury towards the tail end of the season, was able to come back towards the end of the season. He wasn't really looking like himself, but like I said, Jalen Brunson is always going to deliver in the playoffs. He's been known as a playoff riser these last 2 seasons with the Knicks. And it's so interesting to think about the idea that if your team is down 20 in the playoffs, usually that's like a blowout. And this is when we're talking about games that would like final score would be like 85 to like 72, like back in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. But now if you're down to the way the game has evolved with 3-point shooting, and your no lead is really safe, and you're able to come back and battle from any deficit. And the Knicks just are another prime example of that after seeing what we saw with the Nuggets. But the Knicks also doing that. We just got 2 really good games of back-to-back hoops, and it was just so fun to watch. And this second round, as much as I praise the first round, talking about how it's going to be one of the greatest first rounds that we see, and especially in the last few seasons, But this first, second round is going to be really interesting, and we still got some really good games. We got the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Golden State Warriors coming up. It should be interesting to also see how the Cavs come back. The Pacers are a team where I always sleep on them. Like, especially during the regular season, they're not really, they had their struggles early on. Tyrese Halliburton, you know, he was on the Team USA team, kind of struggled to get going, especially not really playing that much during the offseason. Struggled to get going earlier in the season, had such a, some would say, a down year numbers wise, but he has really came through clutch for the Pacers in this postseason, as well as the rise of Andrew Nembhard, Benedict Mathurin, Aaron Nesmith have all been great, and Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner just holding things down. The Pacers are one of the better cohesive basketball teams for a team with no all-star. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton has made an all-star team, but no all-star caliber players this season. But for them to rise and be a really good team as a fourth seed has just been really fun to watch, and has definitely proved me wrong as a viewer. I still have the Cavs over this series, but I really would not be surprised if the Pacers dragged it on to 6 or 7 games, especially stealing that game on the road. Like they say, a series doesn't start until a road team wins a game, and literally every single road team in the second round so far has won a game. So the second round is looking fire so far. I'm excited for the T-Wolves and the Warriors, though. Anthony Edwards on his Randy Orton legend killer status right now. You know, he got past KD last year. Now he's getting past LeBron this year, and now Curry's next on that list. Literally going through the whole list of 2010 superstars. But man, it should be interesting to see. Honestly, I haven't looked so much into the series because of how much I've been paying attention to the other series. And obviously the Warriors have just been fresh off the Game 7 win against the Rockets, in which I thought the Rockets would come through and prevail. But the Warriors, I learned to never doubt Steph Curry at this point in his career. But I think just looking at it face value, if you were to ask me the question right now, I think I do favor the Timberwolves, just because, not necessarily to say Rudy Gobert's 2020 game or 30-20 or whatever you want to say, he had 27 points, but that game against the Lakers, that closeout game, was the deciding factor to know that Rudy Gobert, he's obviously going to be great on the defensive end, but how he's going to step up offensively. And we know that the Warriors not necessarily struggle, but they do have the disadvantage in terms of size in the paint. You have Kevon Looney, but don't necessarily have that big enforcer in the middle. And like I said, Rudy Gobert is not known as a offensive-minded player, but to see that potential that he has, I'm not saying that he's going to be on some dominant Jokic stuff in the paint, but it should be interesting to see how the Warriors match up and who has the assignment on Anthony Edwards. And who has the assignment on Curry? Obviously, I think they're going to throw like a bigger wing like Jaden McDaniels on him. But it should be interesting. I think this is definitely one of the more even matchups in the second round. And I think this honestly has the potential to go to 7 games. But Anthony Edwards, you always got to bank on your superstars. And he's on his legend killer stuff. So we'll see how that turns out. But man, second round has been interesting. And we can't wait for more hoops. I think the conference finals is going to be just as interesting. All these teams fighting for that spot. I can't get enough of how much parity is in the NBA right now. I've never been excited to be a viewer and a fan and just ramble on about these games. But man, we'll see.